Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. It's also Friday night, so we'll be getting into your Q&As, but we're going to be talking about this now or never. Rangnick basically giving a warning to the players that, look, we're not getting what we deserve, but if that continues, we won't be getting top four. Very key two big games for Manchester United at home. We'll also be talking about Pochettino and this belief that he'll bring Harry Kane into the club, that he'd look to build an English base at the club. Is that the way we want to go? Very interesting to talk about that. Tielemans available at half price this summer. That's something very, very interesting as well as injury updates on 3 United players that are not available tomorrow. Tellez is back, but 3 players not available tomorrow. So lots to get into. As I said, very interesting around the top 4. You know, you might not want the pressure of tomorrow and Brighton, but we desperately need to win both games. And if we don't, we're opening the door massively to Arsenal, which is just unthinkable. But look, talking about Arsenal, talking about the past, I've taken a few notes on this. Today's show is supported by Wash and Go, and it's a bit of a giveaway. For the long-term viewers of the channel, you may remember that Wash and Go have a mascot called Washy. If you've not seen it before, it's a giant green Wash and Go bottle. And yeah, it's very bright green. I first met Washy, as I said, I've taken some notes here. I first met Washy when I was manager of United Stand FC. If anyone remembers that, we've still got the videos on the homepage. We were warming up for a game and it comes this 6-foot bright green Wash and Go bottle. And honestly, it's one of the most surreal things I've ever witnessed on a football pitch. I'm glad I read surreal well there and not sexual. Well, except for when a certain other channel, Arsenal-based, decided to have a Royal Rumble amongst their own team in the same game. Anyway, a few years on, Washy lost his job as the mascot of United Stand FC, and the nice people at Wash and Go don't feel that's right. So they're giving you, the lucky viewers of United Stand, the chance to give Washy a new home, as well as the opportunity to win your team a brand new football kit paid for and sponsored by Wash and Go. And this is the bit where you're getting interesting now. A brand new kit for your team sponsored by Wash and Go. We'll even throw in some extra United Stand merch to sweeten the prize. All we need you to do is hit the link in the description and tell us your amazing football team story. This can be how your team stuck by you through a tough time, how you set up a team to help a specific community, like the amazing work that Stonewall FC and Grenfell FC did, or really any other football team story that shows how amazing your team is. It can be funny, it can be sad, it can be real, it can be fake. It doesn't matter. The story's got to be real, but you know, your team might be a bit fake. You know, I don't know even though that means. I will personally go through the entries and find someone I think deserves the almighty honour of receiving Washy, but more importantly, a kit sponsored by Wash and Go and their very own merch. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description and get your entry in today. Also, while you're down in the description, remember that you can pick up a bottle of Wash and Go yourself from the shops or from Amazon. There's a link in there, just delivered straight to your door. Wash and Go. Thanks so much to Wash and Go for supporting the United Stand as ever. And I think this is a really brilliant thing to have on a Friday night. You might know somebody, a manager, your brother, your sister, your mother, your lover. They might be playing for a team. Let them know about this competition, because there's a very good chance that they could win it. A kit sponsored by Wash and Go for your team or a team that you know. Get in the link in the description and get entering with that. Love the idea. Big shout out to Wash and Go. And if you want hair like mine, Wash and Go twice a day. Not twice a day, 2 in 1. Shampoo and conditioner. Links in the chat to buy yourself some of that. But fantastic, and big applause to Wash and Go for what is a really great competition, giving something back to amateur football, which is what I love. I love amateur football, except for when Manchester United are playing amateur football. But big shout out to Wash and Go. Anyway, right, let's get on with the show. We could Wash and Go and lose our top 4 status if we're not careful. I was thinking about this today, and I think Rangnick is definitely in his press conference today. You can check out my reaction to that this afternoon. I don't propose to go over that, but I think one message that came through, I think Rangnick's the king of answering a question very honestly, but also there's a deeper meaning to what a lot he said. And when you pick out the points about we've not got what we deserved, we've got to play for 90 minutes instead of 45 minutes, I think he's basically, it's a warning. It's a warning to the fans, but it's more importantly a warning to the players that if this continues where we don't get what we should be getting, and we should have beat Borough and we should have beat Burnley, but we didn't. And we're used to that because we know that these players have a weak mentality. If this continues, we will not get top 4. And I'll explain to you this why. 39 points we've got at the moment, and so have Arsenal with a game in hand. We are playing Southampton at home tomorrow, Brighton at home, Leeds away and Watford at home. We've got 4 games by the end of February to play. 3 of them at home, 1 of them away to Leeds. In that time, Arsenal are playing 2 games. So by the end of February, we will have played 4 more games and Arsenal would have played 2. They've currently got 1 game in hand. So at the end of the month, they're going to have 3 games in hand on us. We've both got 39 points. We have got to win 4 games because that gives us 51 points. And then even if Arsenal win their 2, they will have 3 games in hand on us, but we will be 6 points ahead. We cannot drop any more points and put ourselves, because Arsenal are going to have 3 games in hand on us at the end of the season, no matter what, at the end of this month, no matter what. If we were to draw 2 of the next 4 games, win 2, draw 2, that's 8 points onto 39, gives us 47. But then if Arsenal win 2, they'd have 45. They'd be 2 points behind us with 3 games in hand. We've got to take advantage of the fact that Arsenal are going to have 3 games in hand on us at the end of the month. And the best way of doing that is making that gap as big as possible. Look, if we win 4 in a row, we'd have 51 points. If Arsenal drop points at home to Brentford or Wolves, that gap will be bigger than 6 points. You know, with a bit of luck, it might be 9 points, and they've got 3 games in hand. But we know what's coming in March. Man City, Spurs, Liverpool. This is our time. These next 4 games, it's now or never. And I know every game's always the biggest game for United. That's what Sir Alex Ferguson used to say. But I'm telling you now, if we drop any points in the next 2 games, I know you could say in the next 4 games, but if we drop any points in the next 2 games, we're massively messing up this top 4 race. Because as I said, Arsenal have got a game in hand now, but they're going to have 3 games in hand at the end of the month because we're playing 2 more games than they are over the next 2 weeks. We have got to try and win 4 games in a row. We've got to win at least 3 and preferably only draw the other one. It really is high stakes time now. And the reality is we're about to play 2 decent teams. Leeds are much improved. That's going to be a massive game at Ellen Road. But the next 2, I would say, are the hardest 2. Brighton and obviously Southampton tomorrow. So the stakes are high, people. And I think that, you know, it's going to run out, you know, it's going to get away with us if we're not careful. It really, really will. I want to get into your questions tonight anyway, but I just really wanted to emphasise the fact that I think that Rangnick was warning everybody today. We cannot afford to keep missing chances. We cannot afford to keep switching off at the back. Concentration is really important. I know everyone always looks to the game against Liverpool and Man City, but they're going for a title. They'll probably beat us. You might have to just go their bonus points. Liverpool and Man City, to me, are big games, but in relation to what we're doing, unfortunately, our standards are in the cellar. Liverpool and Man City are big games because they're big rivals, but they're not big games in the sense that, oh, there's 3 points up for grabs. They're bonus points. We'll probably lose both because they're fighting each other for the title. The next 2 games for us are arguably way more important than Liverpool and Man City. The games that are important to us are the games where we need to get 3 points and should expect to get 3 points. So the next 2 games, tomorrow lunchtime and Tuesday evening, if we get 6 points, there's applause. But really, they're a demand. They're a must. That's my feeling. Mark, Arsenal's outstanding games are against Spurs, Chelsea and Liverpool. Spurs are the real contenders, definitely not Arsenal, says Marcy. Yeah, but we've still got to go. Mate, you can say their outstanding games are this, but your games in hand are never your games in hand. Like, just very quickly, some people might find this a bit boring, but if Arsenal have got 3 games in hand, they're not really... If you say all their games in hand are against Spurs, Man City and Chelsea, they're not really, because we've got to play Spurs, Chelsea and Man City. Their 3 games in hand are any 3 games they want them to be. And some people never get their head around that. But, you know, you can't just say all their games in hand are Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City, because we've got to play Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City. So when we're playing Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, they might be playing Norwich, Brentford and, you know, Leicester at home. So 3 games in hand is whatever 3 games in hand they want. Unless we have, you know, we haven't got to play Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, and they have. So it will even itself out. I wouldn't start going their games in hand are this, because technically their games in hand are whatever games in hand they want, considering we've still got to play those teams as well. We've still got to go to Arsenal. We've got Spurs at home. We've got to go to Anfield. We've got to go to the Etihad. We've got to go to Ellen Road. We've got to go to Goodison Park. We've got We've got Chelsea to come at Old Trafford as well. We've still got some really tough games. We really have. Mark, if you could star in a remake of any movie, what will it be? Keep up the great work. I quite fancy being in the Titanic, and I'd push her off the door at the end and make sure I was all right. There's plenty of room for 2 anyway, and also let's not forget equal rights. Equal rights. I mean, I actually would let her stay on the door, but I wouldn't just stay in the water. I mean, why should I? You know, equal rights. Back in DiCaprio was screwed then, because in the early 1900s, it was, I think there's plenty of room on the door, and it would be a better ending. Mark, so that honest, you see, I like this about a Friday night show. Anything goes, really. Mark, very good. Oh no, fan cam Kev's in the show. I hope fan cams Kev's has watched my vlog. Has anyone watched my vlog going up to Old Trafford? Good. There's a good song in there, Kev. Good song. Good Stone Roses song. Kiss me where the sun don't shine. Kiss me where the sun don't shine. The past is yours, the future's mine. You're out of time. To be honest, though, that's basically what Man City are singing to United, isn't it? Kiss me where the sun don't shine. The past is yours, the future's mine. It's sad, because I love Stone Roses. And that, whenever I hear that now, I think of United. The past is yours, the future's mine. That's all we've got at the moment, is the past, isn't it? That is all we've got. Anyway, let's get back into the now. Mark, Washi would make a better captain than Maguire. Changed my mind, says Mouldy looking stain. Mate, I can't. I'm not ruining my Friday night. I can't believe he's starting. I've said everything. If he starts tomorrow, I can't believe it. It's not a footballing decision for me. I'd be very disappointed with Rangnick, really, because I think he's better than that. But I don't get it. I can't spend any more time on it. I can't get my head around it. You have to respect the manager. It's his choice. But on every single level, I can't understand why you would start Maguire over Lindelof tomorrow. I just can't. I don't get it. Everywhere I look, Lindelof only got took out the team because of a personal issue. Lindelof's been better than Maguire in every area this year, apart from heading. Maguire's playing rubbish. I can't find a way. You can't even. It's not like you can say, yeah, but his leadership skills are brilliant. I just can't find a reason other than I can't. We're paying him a lot of money, and we don't want his value to decrease. I think playing him's doing that. At this point, I would take Butterpants to play centre-back over Maguire, says Ethan Harris. And top 5 comedy films, says Daniel Kirk. We'll come back to that in a minute, because we're talking football. Anyway, so just on that, just a bit of an update that we didn't get in the press conference, because he didn't answer this in the press conference. But we have got 3 players missing tomorrow. Fred is still not back. Tellez is back, but Matic is out, and somebody else is out. Oh, Bay is out. So Eric Bay's not an option for tomorrow anyway, but I would have gone for Lindelof anyway. But no Eric Bay, no Fred, no Nemanja Matic. Now that is quite interesting, because hopefully they'll both be back for the Brighton game. But again, it leaves us in a very precarious position, because if Scott McTominay doesn't get hold of that midfield tomorrow, and Pogba doesn't get hold of that midfield tomorrow, there's nothing on the bench. We need McTominay to have a good game tomorrow. I know a lot of people don't rate him as a CDM, and I certainly don't, but we need him to have a good game, because, even if it's just one good game, because at least against Brighton, you'll have Fred back and Matic back, but with neither of them available tomorrow, that midfield has got no backup, none. If we lose that midfield battle and you need a bit more in there, what are you going to do? You might have to put Phil Jones in there. So, we are weak in that midfield, and nobody will mention this. Nobody will mention this apart from the fans. But this was why Rangnick wanted a bloody holding midfielder. This is why he wanted Zakaria for €5 million. This is why he mentioned Kamara for €10 million. It's not just about the fact that our midfield's crap. It's also the fact that it's very, very vulnerable. Matic is out of form and old. Fred, it was always going to take one injury or one absentee from Fred or McTominay, and we were going to be in trouble in that midfield. And tomorrow, imagine if, God help us, it won't happen, but imagine McTominay goes into a tackle tomorrow and does one of his ankles. You know what? I hope Scott doesn't get injured between now and the end of the season, but I've always said, when you look at McTominay, he is quite not injury prone, but he does pick up an injury every couple of months, and has done for the last 18 months. So we're very shallow in that midfield. You might get to see Lindelof in CDM. So we'll see what happens with that. But look, it's an early kick-off tomorrow. I'm excited about it. 12:30. And so I think it'll be a good game. I think it will be a good game, because I think Southampton play in the way that Rangnick wants to play. And if we play like that, it will be a very high-intensity game. And I think we'll see some goals. And hopefully, I'm going to go for it. I think United will get it over the line, because ultimately I can't imagine a world. Well, I can, unfortunately, but we've got to win tomorrow. Going back to what I was saying there, if we drop 2 points tomorrow in a draw, that means we can only get to 49 points by the end of the month if we win our next 3. And it puts a lot of pressure on those. And as we know, if Arsenal win 2, they'll have 3 games in hand with 45 points, and we'll be on 49 points. So, we've got to win tomorrow. And even if we win tomorrow, it doesn't. You've got to go and win again and again and again. I mean, really, I think we need to win the next 4 because I don't think we're getting many points in March. And if Arsenal play a few of their games in hand, we could put ourselves in real pressure going into April and May. Credits to be given where due, Mark. The previous manager made the Leeds fixture easy. With the way we play, very much worried about Leeds, says Mihir. Well, that's a bit of a myth, Mihir. I like to call myths out. People always give Ollie credit about Leeds, but did we beat Leeds at Ellen Road last year? No. As I remember, I think it was a boring, low-scoring draw. We don't go to Ellen Road and smash them up. We go to Old Trafford and smash them up, and that's because they play open. It'll be a very different game. Favourite Stone Roses song, says Kev. Made of Stone. I like a lot of them. We'll have to have a night out in Manchester one night. You tell me a pub where they've got a jukebox, and we'll sink a few beers and we'll listen to a bit of Stone Roses. We won't invite anyone else. We'll just have a good time. But yeah, I love a bit of Stone Roses. I mean, for me, Oasis and Stone Roses, and I know Oasis are Man City fans, but they are just 2 of my favourite bands ever. I love the Stone Roses and Oasis. Are you doing a watch along for the Man United game? Logan, no. I thought for the first time in 4 years we'd just give it a miss. Of course I am. Tomorrow lunchtime, bring it on. 12:30 kickoff. What else did I want to talk about? So yeah, I do want to talk about. I just want to talk about, actually, just while we're on the midfield, I saw an article today coming out about Belgium that Leicester are accepting that they're going to have to let Tielemans go on the cheap. Now, I did want to talk about Tielemans because a lot of people have said, "Oh, Tielemans will be a good signing." I'm a little bit concerned about Tielemans, but having said that, there's mitigating circumstances. I mean, look at Leicester. It's not like Sionku or Barnes or Maddison or Ndidi are pulling up trees. So, you know, give Tielemans a bit of credit. He's not the only Leicester player playing badly. And would you say no to all of those players I've just said? But he's out of contract in 2023, Tielemans. So Leicester were talking about 70 million for him. But the reality is, if he doesn't leave this summer, he's going to go for next to nothing. And we know Leicester are like a bit of coin. So I think that Tielemans is probably going to be available for about £40 million in the summer. Now, there won't be a shortage of takers. I personally think he'll go abroad. I don't know why people think he's going to go to United or City or Chelsea or Liverpool. I think he will go abroad. But the question is that he is going to be available for about £40 million. Is he the sort of midfielder you would go for? And the answer to which I would say, assuming Pogba's going to go, I quite like the idea of a midfield 3 that is, look, let's just say Ruben Neves, Tielemans, Bruno. I quite like that as a midfield 3. But the priority is a CDM. If we're letting Pogba go in and we're getting Tielemans in, where's the bloody CDM? Because Tielemans is not a CDM. So I don't mind the idea of Tielemans. I certainly think to say, he's been rubbish the last few weeks. Well, hello. Bruno's not had his best season. We've had seasons where Pogba's not been that good. You know, Rashford's not been that good this season. Are they suddenly totally crap? Or are they just going through bad bits of form because of, the team's not doing well? I think Tielemans, he scored a cracker against us, but I think Tielemans has the potential to be very, very good. I would take Tielemans at United for that price because I think they're the sort of deals that we should be looking to do this summer. Players that have got 1 year left on their deal that are good players. That's why we should have got Zakaria in January. We should have gone for Kamara as well. But I would go for Tielemans for 40 million quid. Having said that, we have to get a CDM first. Don't think Rangnick would want to stay as manager past his stay. The state the club is in, we playing badly and the club goes on promoting crypto, says Yuri. And Man United to finish, says A. And got a ticket up to the game last minute, so excited up the Reds, says Connor Boyd. I just want to say as well, I did say at the start of the press conference today that if you ever wanted an example of what Manchester United are all about, Marcus Rashford this afternoon tweeted a picture of himself in the new training top with the new training brand on it, and that was his tweet. And I said, look, this is why Ruben Diaz has got 300,000 followers at Twitter and Harry Maguire's got 1.9 million. Ruben Diaz is way better than Maguire, but Maguire is a brand for Manchester United. And he becomes part of that brand and he becomes part of the teachings of United that you've got to be big as a brand. And the reason they do that is because when they approach, when they're approached by a brand to sponsor their training kits, they say, well, look, we've got so many million followers on Twitter, but we've also got Marcus Rashford with 5 million. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo with 20, 30, 40, 50 million on Instagram. We've got Harry Maguire with 1.9. You don't just get United exposure, you get all these players tweeting it out as well. These players are part of the machine. It's all part of the machine. Man United are top of the league when it comes to being a brand. Look at Man City. They don't do it. They're missing a trick. Man United are brilliant at it. And lo and behold, this afternoon, Cristiano Ronaldo on Instagram puts a picture of himself out in the new training top. It's all part of the brand. He's got 400 million followers on Instagram, mate. 400 million on Instagram. And he's put a picture out of himself in the new training top. What's going on there then? Somebody explain, somebody who's really into marketing, tell me what's going on there. Why are the new training top sponsor paying United £25 million a year, but a United player with 5 million followers on Twitter, Rashford, or 400 million followers on Instagram, is happily putting a picture out of them in the new training top? What are Rashford and Ronaldo getting out of it? What sort of contract have they got? Because if I'm Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm going, why am I putting a picture out of a training top when Man United are getting 25 million? So what's Ronaldo getting for doing that? Is it just a favour? Is it in his contract that he must be part of the brands for his wages? It's all part of this. The conversations that United have with players ain't necessarily about football. They're all part of the same machine, and it's very much social media FC. Forget this season. Think about any players will leave in the summer. Even if the board are willing to spend big, I still don't trust them to recruit right. I'm really scared for next season. Your thoughts as I see dead bodies? Well, do you like The Sixth Sense? I don't think, and I don't blame the players, by the way. They're signing these contracts with their agents, and it probably says when we get a new shirt sponsor, you've got to put 10 posts out a month or something like that. You know, if we get a new training kit sponsor, you've got to put a picture of yourself out in it. That's what their contracts will be, because United are very focused on that sort of thing. But yeah, look, I'm worried about next season, honestly. You know, thanks for the super chat, but I've said it before. I'm very worried about next season, and I think in the short term we might get top four. But as I've said a few times this week, even if we do get top four, what does that mean? Like, we ridiculed Arsenal for years, saying, look at them celebrating the fourth place cup. And they used to finish fourth, and sometimes we wouldn't finish fourth, and we'd laugh at Arsenal and go, you're celebrating fourth place again in May, but come next February you'll get knocked out in the first Champions League round. Well, Arsenal were happy with that under Wenger because he was making them money. And that's what happened every year. Fourth place, knocked out of the Champions League, but they got the Champions League money. Arsenal fans were stupid enough to think that was okay until they realised it wasn't okay. We're going into the same way. I said about 3 years ago, I fear we're heading to be like Arsenal, and some people didn't want to acknowledge it. And what I meant was we were starting to focus on fourth place every year, because that gets the Glazers 60, 70 million guaranteed, more than they'll get in the Europa League. And lo and behold, it's happening again. We're always going to be about fourth place. But you know what? Even if we do get fourth place, are we winning the league next year? No. Are we winning the Champions League yet next year? No. So we're competing for fourth place again next year. Yeah. But I think it will be harder, because I think other teams look like they're better prepared. The Villas, Newcastle will come. Maybe not next year. So yeah, I'm worried about next season, but we can't, you know, we've got to focus on the now, haven't we? We've got to finish fourth first. Do you think the reason we didn't sign Zakaria and other less well-known players is because they haven't got a big social media presence? I certainly think Wascara, it is more... I remember speaking to an ex-scout of United probably about 2 years ago, and I asked them that question. I said, look, you know, there's always been stories that United scouts have recommended players and they've been, you know, they've said no. Alphonso Davies was one. There's been loads and loads of others. That happens at any club, though. Arsenal rejected Ronaldo before we got him, so it happens everywhere. It's not, you know, sometimes you'll see a headline going, oh, United rejected Alphonso Davies. United will have rejected loads of players, because that's what happens in scouting. But I did ask the question about this sort of Brexit sort of joke that United are only focused on English players, and I asked that question why, and they said, well, there's 2 or 3 reasons really. Obviously, the fact that they're English means that they're English speaking, which can make them easier to settle in a club, although that's not really a problem now and hasn't been for 20 years. Also, the fact that they're probably going to be Premier League proven is another reason that United look at that. They quite value that. But again, that's sort of been dismissed by teams like Liverpool and Man City, who, you know, bring loads and loads of foreign players in with good scouting. And then the other reason actually was that, yeah, you know what? An English player from a club like a Leicester, like Harry Maguire, or a Declan Rice, or is going to be well more known by the Man United Premier League fans than somebody coming in from the Bundesliga. So there are, there's definitely, it's definitely an easier platform to work on when you've got somebody who's got a presence in the social media world already. And it is a factor for United. I don't think they're going to buy if someone's got 3 million, I've got more followers than Ruben Diaz, but they'd sign Ruben Diaz because I'm a shit centre-back. But if they are a half-decent footballer, and it's a tick in the box. Mark, it's the image rights of the players that the club bought. So the players have already cashed and now they're obligated to expose brands that sponsor the club. Essentially, that's how franchises work, says Marcy. And I'm glad you've explained that to me, because that's what I suspected has happened, but I don't really have much experience of that. So Marcy is saying that when these players are posting out today with their millions of followers a picture of themselves in a training top, and we all know that United have got a new training top, Marcy is saying that basically that's what the club will buy their image rights, so that they can basically be told that when that happens you've got to post it out, and that'll be part of the money that we pay them. So yeah, it's all very brand. Man United are top of the league on brands, 100%, brilliant at it. But the problem with it is, it's nothing to be proud of that United are. In fact, it's an irritant, isn't it? United are top of the league in relation to making money. Well done. That would be brilliant if we spent it. We're still hundreds of millions of pounds in debt, and our owners are still taking loads and millions of pounds in dividends like no other club does. So it only benefits the Glazers at the end of the day, isn't it? So there we go. Do we deserve top four at the moment, says Anakin? No. At the moment we don't. There may well become a point where we do. If Arsenal and West Ham slip away and we start winning games, that can change in a couple of weeks. I don't think we're massively not deserving of top four, but I haven't felt that at no point this season have I felt that we're worthy of top four. I still think we'll get it. I still would back us over anybody else because of the squad of quality players that we've got. But at this moment in time, I don't feel that we deserved it. I think if you stopped the clock now and said, right, who deserves fourth place, I don't think it would be us. Do you think Liverpool will be singing 20 times or even more before we win a title again, says Connor T? 100%. I thought you were going to say, do I think they'll be singing it now, this season? I mean, look, this is the life of a Man United fan. Who do you want to win the league? Do you want Man City to win another one, or do you want Liverpool to level up with us? I mean, obviously, I've not really given it much thought because I don't want either of them to win it, but I'm going to have to say I'd rather Man City win it. But really, it's impalatable both ways, isn't it? It really is. I was going to say something that probably get people, weirdos, excited, as they've probably got a fetish for it. But ultimately, I was going to say, no, I'm not going to say it. Mark, would you rather watch Seb lift the Premier League for Liverpool in 10 years' time, or see the Glazers sell the club now? Says just Con. Oh my God, that's a really, really, really odd question. It's a very good question. It's a really good question, that, because you're talking about your own son lifting a Premier League title, or the Glazers selling the club now for Manchester United. But he's lifting the Premier League title for Liverpool, isn't he? Look, I think if I had the power for the Glazers... Look, as long as the Glazers were going to sell the club to better owners who were going to invest in the team, I'd have to be a man of the people and say, Manchester United is a massive part of my life, massive part of my granddad's life. I'd have to do it. I'd have to do it, and hope that Seb would forgive me. But yeah, it's a good question. I never find those very good, but I actually think that's a really good one, just Connor. Yeah. Mark, we always struggle against organised pressing. 5 minutes of Burnley pressing at the second half start and we're done. It's going to be tough tomorrow, says Sakin. Yeah, we're going to have to play well tomorrow. Almost went into a fight with an idiot saying we have to fire Rangnick and remove Ronaldo because we're almost champions last year. Can you believe that, says Simon. Mate, there's some weird... I think that when people get frustrated and annoyed, they come out with some weird things. If you're on Twitter... There is a cult, I call it, of people that think we need to get rid of David De Gea. And every now and again, I'll get tagged into it or I'll get DM'd about it. And they're going on about his passing percentage and this, that and the other. I haven't got a problem if you think we need a better goalkeeper than David De Gea. But what I would say to you is, he's won how many Player of the Month awards this year? He won Player of the Month for the league last month. He's made more saves than anybody else. And we're struggling to get fourth place. Where do you think we would be without David De Gea, who statistically is the best saver in the league this year and has won loads of awards? I don't mind if you think we need to improve David De Gea. What amazes me is that people spend time obsessing about it like it's our biggest problem. As I said on Twitter today, it's like moaning about a bird shitting on your car whilst behind you your house is on fire. It's a problem that is way down the pecking order of what we need to solve. But you know what? Life's weird at times, and some people start obsessing about things that really are irrelevant at this moment in time. God, I wish we were talking about whether we need to upgrade David De Gea. Personally, I don't think we ever need to, but I wish we were talking about that, because I'd assume if we're talking about that, the rest of the team's bloody perfect. I mean, I'd like to sit these people down and have a pint and say, right, you've been talking at me for an hour about David De Gea's passing statistics. What do you think about Harry Maguire? Well, he's not really the problem, is he? Right, I'm off. Bye. See you later. But yeah, anyway, just talking about the summer. Obviously, Pochettino's been mentioned a lot this week. I did see something today about, obviously, I think Harry Kane wanted to leave Spurs for Man City last summer. It didn't happen. A lot of people expected it to happen. There is still a very big chance that Harry Kane will leave Spurs this summer because he wants to go and win trophies. And to be honest, he's not going to do that at Spurs. I know he's a lot happier at Spurs under Conte, but he wants to leave Spurs because he wants to win trophies. You know, he loves Spurs. You know, that's where he's been all his career, isn't it? But he wants to win trophies, so I think he still will look to leave. If we get Pochettino, there is a belief that Harry Kane will be his big signing, and obviously United need a striker. I also got sent something today about Pochettino that he said in the past that he believes that in the country that you're in, i.e. he was managing Spurs, I think at the time, that you need a strong core of players from that country. And I think somebody sent it to me because they were laughing about how, oh God, we're going to carry on being this obsessed with British players team. Some people actually quite enjoyed that Pochettino had said that. I find it ridiculously naive. I mean, it gets to the point where people say I'm anti-British, but I'm actually British. I'm born in England. I've supported England as a, I'm not massively into international football now, but in the rugby, cricket, I'm English. That's why I am. But I also know that certain aspects of our English society is very, very insular, and we're not very good at embracing foreign players into our game. We see it all the time in the media. We see these silly comments about players' names and obsession with British players. It's always been there in certain aspects of the media, and I suppose in certain aspects of football fandom. But when a manager comes out and says, I firmly believe if you're managing in that country, you've got to have a strong core of players from that country. I mean, maybe if you're managing in the 1980s, yes, but since the 1994 World Cup, that was the most exciting match of the days I ever used to watch. When Spurs bought Klinsmann in, and you had people like Petrescu at Sheffield Wednesday. I think Spurs also bought in, was it Popescu as well? That's where it all started after the 94 World Cup. We started to see a massive influx of foreign players, and the Premier League improved massively because of it. So much so that Arsenal were playing Premier League games with all non-English 11s. And so much so that, realistically, Pep Guardiola won a lot of titles with players that weren't English. He's now started implementing them into the team a lot better. But God, I mean, I'm not labelling Pochettino as this. I mean, it was a quote I got sent. I don't know when it was from or how long ago it was. But if that's something to get excited about, Pochettino's going to come to England and get a load of England players in our team. I'm sorry, if England's 11 played against Liverpool, Man City or Chelsea, they'd get their arse smacked. So, why would I get excited about a load of English players? Mark, what do you have to say about De Gea being candid about the curse thing, says by Paul? I've already spoken about it, mate. I just think it was So basically, David De Gea said it feels like we're a bit cursed as a team. Can't really explain why we're not winning trophies. I think it was a diplomatic answer, really. I think we all know why we're not winning titles and trophies, because we're not good enough. I said it in the week, didn't I? There's only probably 2 players from our starting 11 that gets in a Man City starting 11, and they'd probably say none. So how can we expect to win titles when we're not good enough? Poch got the media in his pocket. They're all going over the idea of him being the next manager. He will finish the Glazer destruction of the club, says Dan. I think the Pochettino thing is going to be really interesting because, I don't think there's a manager that can come in and solve this problem anyway. I would always say that. In fairness to Pochettino, there's no manager that's going to come in and solve this problem, because I'd be a hypocrite if I thought that. I can't say that Ollie, Rangnick, Van Gaal, Mourinho, even Moyes were never given the freedom to get what they wanted, and they've all said it, they weren't. You know, if you're not going to give a manager the freedom to do their job, they're not going to succeed. It doesn't matter who it is. Imagine if Jurgen Klopp had come to United instead of Liverpool and wasn't allowed to buy Mane and Salah, and wasn't allowed to sell Coutinho because he sold too many shirts and this, that and the other. You know, it's... You've got to give the freedom to the manager to do it. And that's why I think any manager at United is going to struggle. But even if Pochettino had the freedom to do it, I don't think he's the right man. And I think that's what we're heading for. We're not doing Red Den stream tonight, no, because I'm going to go out for a few beers. I'm Hayden Banks tonight, so I won't be able to do it, I'm afraid. So yeah, I think that look, if Pochettino's answer is to keep Harry Maguire, buy Declan Rice and Harry Kane, and then try and win a title, because Harry Kane will cost 100 million and Declan Rice will cost 80. So imagine that was Poch's plan, 180 million spent on Rice and Kane. So basically, we've got England's striker, England's CDM, England's centre-back, England's left-back, England's right wingers, England's left wingers. You know, what's he going to do? Put Dean Henderson in goal and we've got England's goalkeeper? I don't see that as much of a plan. We'll be fighting for fourth again. So I like Pochettino. I don't dislike Pochettino, and if he gets the job, I'll give him a chance, because, you know, what choice do we have? I'd be very surprised if United went against the fans on Pochettino. The appetite for Pochettino just isn't there. It's not. It doesn't matter who you speak to. You know, you can speak to all sorts of fans, and the appetite for Pochettino is not there. So, but I think that as well, you've got to give football fans credit, especially United fans. The wool has been pulled over the eyes of United fans for so long over the last 10 years. The manipulation of brands, from the club, the manipulation of leaks into the press, you know, the constant signing of glamour signings that really don't solve problems in the team. I mean, last summer was abysmal when you think about it. Ronaldo, Sancho and Varane. 3 massive signings, but they don't buy the one position they need, which is a holding midfielder. So I think fans are quite eyes open that this board makes decisions that aren't based on football, because they're not very good on making decisions based on football. And I think that no matter who the manager is, the board and the Glazers are nearly at the point of no return, where I don't think they can, you know, it's almost like, the way I would explain it is, you know when you're playing Monopoly, and if you go to prison, you've got your get out of jail free card. It's like United are playing a game of Monopoly, but they started with 5 get out of jail cards, and they keep getting sent to prison, and then they go, get out of jail, get out of jail, get out of jail. I think they've used all the cards up. I do. I don't know what their next get out of jail card is, because Ronaldo was a massive get out of jail card. One of the world's greatest players. He's played for United before. We stole him from City. You think he's going to score loads of goals and he's going to sell loads of shirts. It's a massive, massive, massive... I mean, Ronaldo really... That signing killed any frustration about the Super League, didn't it? We were all excited about it, rightly or wrongly. And it's not worked. So what are they going to do this summer? Oh, Erling Haaland's coming. Oh, what? Another really good striker that everybody else would like. You know, are people really going to get conned like by that? They'll be excited by it, but they're not going to go, we're going to win the league. Because, you know, we've done Pogba, we've done Harry Maguire, we've done Ronaldo, we've done these big signings, and nothing actually ever changes. We're still miles off. We're still fighting for fourth every year. So I think, I'm not sure. I think there's a manager that would excite the fans more than Pochettino, but I think fans are very cynical now of movements by the club or players to try and, you know, manipulate us into positivity. The only thing that's going to make fans positive is if we can genuinely start being a contender for the biggest prizes again. And that's not going to happen by, oh, look at this great manager we've got. Oh, look at this big signing we're going to do. Football fans are a lot more intelligent now than they've ever been. They've got access to so much information. And if Pogba goes and Cavani goes and Ronaldo goes, United fans know that we need 2 midfielders and 2 strikers, probably another centre-back, and maybe even another winger, to even have a chance of being competitive next year. Ollie tried to build players of English core. Sir Alex too had an English core, but then it was Sir Alex and those players were legends. Our current English lot are not up to United level, says Mojo. Mark, what is your view on continuing with Ralf instead of new manager? Says Ram. I don't really have an opinion on it yet, Ram, because I don't think we need... I've said this a few times. I'm a little bit surprised that we're having so many manager chats when I go back to what I was talking about at the start of the video. These next 4 Premier League games, it's now or never for top 4. If we mess any of these next 4 games up, we're leaving the door wide open for someone else to get top 4 with the hard games we've got in March. So I don't know why this talk of management. I don't know what the club are doing. I don't know why they're doing it. And the same with Rangnick. I don't know why we're talking about whether Rangnick should get the job at the start of February. For me, these conversations shouldn't even be happening until the end of March. When you talk about inclusion in English society, I would like to give a shout out to Pangbourne College near Reading, who were just brilliant helping me settle in England. And this is 1992 I'm talking about, says Mojo. Yeah, big shout out to them. Thank you very much for that. And do you think Sir Alex Ferguson retired knowing the club was becoming more controlling and restrictive based on getting commercial results over football results, says Smooch? No, I think Sir Alex Ferguson retired because his sister-in-law died and he wanted to... And his wife was very close to her sister, and he felt that he'd given up enough time away from his wife that he wanted to give something back to her. That was the story. I've got no reason not to believe that. So I know Rooney's apparently said something different, but I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson would have walked away from football unless it was time to put his family first. I think he went at the right time as well. He went at the perfect time. I mean, the thing about when people retire at the right time, people always wish they'd carry on for longer. Whenever you're going to retire, whether it's from playing FIFA or whether it's for your job or it's football, if people say you retired too soon, at least you retired at the right time. Gary Lineker retired at like 31 from football, and everyone said he retired too soon. That means he went at the right time because people thought he was still really good. There's a fine balance between... My biggest comparison on retirements in football is this. Sir Alex Ferguson retired with the title that he'd stolen back from Man City. And everyone said, I wish he hadn't retired. He could have won the next 2 titles. And he probably would have done. But at some point, it would have stopped. And it would have gone. Look at Wenger at Arsenal. He went with the sack, even though he's probably one of Arsenal's best managers ever. It's very rare that you can go out on top, and Sir Alex Ferguson went out on top. So, for whatever reason he did it at the right time. It's as if we gave up this year's Champions League by not signing in January. We're also saying we intend to have Maguire in our defence versus Atletico, says Sean O'Sullivan. I just hope that Harry Maguire can find some form, because at the moment, I just hope he finds some form that enables us to get top 4. I just, you know what? I go round in circles with Maguire. I've said it before. I can't see how he ever becomes, with Marcus Rashford, I can imagine Rashford going through 3 months where he's just on fire. Everything he does is brilliant. I can see that potential in Rashford. He may never do it, but I can see the raw attributes that he could do it. I could even say that with McTominay, if we got him in the right position, there's potentially a player there that's better than what we've seen. But with Maguire, I just see a centre-back that if he's playing in a back 5 with 2 holding midfielders with a deep line, he's decent. But in a back 4, where he's got to defend on his own, like good centre-backs do, he's slow, he doesn't read the game very well, and he's not very quick on the turn. And in the modern game, I think you're going to get exposed. If Maguire played for Liverpool or Man City, he'd be a massive weak spot. And I just think he's always going to be a weak spot. So the thing with Maguire for me is it's not about agenda. It's not about having an issue with him. I'd love him to play well between now and the end of the season because I think we'd probably get top 4 if that happens. But he's no captain. He's not a captain. He's got no captain leadership at all. I don't know why that was done, and I blame Ollie for that, but it just makes no sense to me. But, as I said, there are players that are not playing well this season. The Rashfords, the Wan-Bissakas. the Freds, the McTominays. But with all of those players, I think they're capable of being good enough. But with Maguire, I just don't think he's ever going to do it because I don't see the attributes. You know, if Fred could sort his first touch out, which is a big ask. He's quick across the ground, he's tenacious. You know, if he had a good first touch or he sorted it out, he'd be useful. And he can be useful. If Wan-Bissaka could improve his crossing, he'd become a very good right back. You know, if Rashford sorted out his decision making, he'd be a lot better as well. But with Maguire, he's never going to be quick. And I don't think he's massively going to improve his turning ability or his ability to read the game. So he's always going to have weaknesses. I personally think Maguire's just Michael Keane. I think that's the level of centre-back he is, which makes him a £35 million centre-back instead of an £80 million centre-back. But I feel sorry for him. You know, you can't dictate what people pay for you. And you can't say, I don't think I should play tomorrow because I think Lindelof should. At least with Maguire, we did see an improvement in our defence and league finishing when he signed with Ronaldo. He's destabilised the team. Oh my God. Rash is actually that person that said that Maguire's better than Ronaldo. And you have said that, mate. You can pretend that you haven't, but you have basically said that. I'll leave you to the chat. I can't there are no words. There are no words. Eric, Maguire was good before he joined us. I think that's a great question because, you know, when you're criticising a footballer, you're criticising a footballer. If Harry Maguire went and played for Burnley or Everton, he'd be a very good centre-back because the way they play, he'd be a very... Well, maybe not under Lampard, but, you know, the way they used to play under Benitez, I think he'd be a very good centre-back there. But was he a good centre-back before we bought him? And the answer is yes. I used to watch Maguire play for England, and I'd think, yeah, he's a good centre-back. When we bought him, I was like, well, you get what you pay for. You know, he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. Van Dijk went for £75 million. You know, I must admit I hadn't watched him loads, and every time I'd seen him play was normally when they played Liverpool or something, and he tended to have a good game. So I think he was a decent player when we bought him. But remember when we bought him, he was 27, 26. You know, you buy a player at 26, you think you're going to get the best years out of them and they're going to get better. And unfortunately, 27, 28, 29 Maguire, he was 29 this year, he's declined, hasn't he? If you had the choice, knowing what's happened, are you still buying Ronaldo over CDM? For me, I'll always love his return, and this team let him down, says Arjun. It's a great question again. So if I had the choice now, would I still get Ronaldo or would I get a CDM? Look, everything in my heart is saying I'd still take Ronaldo because you only live once and it's a dream to have him back at the club. But knowing what I know now, of course I wouldn't, because that would just be stupid. It doesn't mean I don't love Ronaldo. It doesn't mean I don't think he's one of the best players in the world. But I know what happens with Ronaldo to now, and the season's been shit. You know, if a good CDM comes in, are we where we are now? There's a chance that we're not, so I'll roll the dice. But I don't think it's Ronaldo's fault. I really don't think it's Ronaldo's fault. You're just asking me, would I rather go through this season with a decent CDM or would I rather do what we've done? And I'd rather go through it with a decent CDM. Ronaldo's a brilliant signing, but it won't work if you haven't got a team first. Yeah, it's the old analogy, isn't it? United went and bought Lewis Hamilton to drive their Formula 1 car, but instead of having a Formula 1 engine, it's got a bloody Vauxhall Astra engine in it, you know, so he can't win. We needed to build. You need to build a team. You need to. It's like the icing on a cake. Oh, Ronaldo's the icing on the cake. He's the icing on the cake and he's the candles. Happy birthday. But why are you putting icing when you haven't built a cake? You know. So yeah, I mean, look, some good questions tonight, but it's obvious to me. Of course, I would take a CDM over Ronaldo, knowing what I know now. But that doesn't mean it's not Ronaldo's fault. It's just the team's not there. What's your opinion on people comparing Zlatan at 36 at United and Ronaldo? I think it's a joke, but wanted to know your opinion on this debate, says Arjun. Ronaldo's way better than Zlatan at 36 because Ronaldo's way better than Zlatan. You know, history's kind on everybody. You know, Rooney's got a documentary out today and everyone's going, Rooney, the United legend. Oh, we miss Rooney, this, that and the other. Well, that's because we're remembering the great years of Rooney. I remember the end of Rooney at United. A lot of people used to want him dropping for Van Persie. A lot of people used to get frustrated with Rooney because he was on the decline. But people don't remember that. And that's good that they don't remember that. Because when you look back, you should remember the good times. And I think with Zlatan at United, people remember all the goals he scored. I also remember Bournemouth coming to Old Trafford and playing with their defensive line on halfway and pressing us right up to our edge of our 6-yard box. Why? Because they weren't scared of the ball over the top because Zlatan had no pace. But people won't remember that. They'll just remember the goals. I think it might have been the same game against Bournemouth. I think we drew 0-0. It might have been Southampton or someone else. And he missed loads and loads of chances and we drew 0-0. So the difference for me is Zlatan played in a better team. That team won the Europa League. That team won the Carabao Cup. You put Ronaldo in that team, he'd score a load of goals. It's like what Rangnick said today. Ronaldo's not scoring enough goals, but it's a team issue as well. Zlatan in this team would be shit. 100%. There's no service. We spend a lot of time away from our goal. He was playing in a better team. So, you know, it's one of the basic principles in football. It doesn't matter whether you're Messi, Haaland, Zlatan, Ronaldo, Harry Kane. If you're playing in the wrong team, you're not going to score as many goals as you would if you're playing in the right team. And Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, they've all witnessed it over the last year that it's a graveyard shift up front for United. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be Danny Ings, you could be Cristiano Ronaldo. There's not a lot of goals in that team. And that needs to change. And that's what Rangnick's trying to change. That United team was a really good team. You know, was it the best team I've ever seen? God, no. But that team is the best team we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. You know, revisionists want to sort of erase Mourinho from United history. But look, it's nothing to shout about, Europa League and a Carabao Cup. But it's the best season we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And therefore it's the best team. And it was the best team, to be honest. You know, it was. It's the best season we've had. And it had some down bits in it. But it's like comparing past Ronaldo to present Ronaldo. Better player now, but won more when he first arrived, says Andrew. Kiss the early morning sun. Kiss me where the sun don't shine. The past is yours, the future's mine. You're out of time. Bringing Ronaldo back and seeing him like this is really sad. Especially how we thought it was impossible. Something we can't forgive the club for, in my opinion, says Arjun. Yeah, it's not gone well, mate. The Ronaldo thing's not gone well. But you know what? For a positive, we're playing tomorrow lunchtime. And, you know, go back to what I said about Sir Alex Ferguson. He got out at the right time because everyone said he should have carried on. So Sir Alex Ferguson retired at the right time. Has Ronaldo gone on too long? No. Is he on the decline? Well, he is, because he's not the winger he was. He's evolved his game because of, you know, age. But what do we both know? What do we all know about Ronaldo and Messi? Write them off at your peril. Write them off at your peril. Ronaldo is dangerous when he's written off. And Atletico Madrid is a happy hunting ground for Ronaldo. So would I be surprised if Sue makes appearances over the next couple of home games and against Atletico Madrid and Leeds and Watford? No. It's very, very dangerous to start writing Ronaldo's memoirs when he's still playing football. And look, the future's yet to be written. We do not know. But history tells us that you write Ronaldo off at your peril. And I just think there's another chapter in Ronaldo. I really do. Let's dance. Let's wait and see. But let's hope we see a bit of Sue tomorrow. I mean, I love Ronaldo. We all love Ronaldo. Surely we love Ronaldo. And, you know, I suppose the only positive in him not scoring for a while is that when he scores, we're going to go crazy, aren't we? Unless we're losing 4-0 and it's a consolation goal. I'm not jumping around going Sue then. I don't care how long she's been away. Anyway, look, I've enjoyed the show tonight. I always enjoy the Friday night show. bit of a kickback and chat. And yeah, it's an early start tomorrow. I've got the road trip coming in very early tomorrow, and then I'll be live at about 11:30 for the team news. I quite like the early Saturday kickoff, and I think it's going to be a good game tomorrow. So get a good sleep or whatever you're up to. Smash a like on the video and subscribe. And you know how long's on Ronaldo's contract, says Joe? Yeah, he's got another year. Got another year, but I think if we're not in the Champions League, he'll go. Don't forget the competition from Wash and Go. You can get a kit. You can win a kit for your team or a friend's team, or if you know somebody who plays for a team, you can win them a kit. Sponsored by Wash and Go. What a way. You're going to look so good on the pitch with a Wash and Go sponsor for your team. All you got to do is click the link in the description to enter the competition. Remember, it can be your son's team, your daughter's team, your mate's team, your wife's teams, you know, your uncle's team. If you know somebody who plays for a team, get in on this competition and you can win them a kit sponsored by Wash and Go. Brilliant competition. Of course, if you want to get your Wash and Go products, I use it every morning. 2-in-1 washer, shampoo and conditioner. Links in the video description for that as well. You can get it delivered to your door from Amazon. Big shout out for Wash and Go. And remember the kit competition. Get involved in it. And looking forward to seeing who some of the entries. They're going to be picked by me. I'm going to pick the winner. So yeah, make your stories good. Bit of comedy in there as well. Can be a sad story, but just put something a bit funny in it. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. I'll speak to you all in a bit.